saying right there.
But they all swear in English, you know that. But look at the American bench. They got to be.
A tremendous effort by the Russians. The defending
Arena. We're ready for the finals of the Greater Detroit Open. Our finalists are Doug Kent, Parker Boone III, Eric Forkel, Dave Arnold, and a newcomer is our tournament leader in the #1 spot, Jeff Safino. All the action and excitement coming up next on the Professional Bowlers Tour here on ABC.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
At 7:53.
The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
Yes, we have come to a pleasant suburb of Detroit, Allen Park, and their civic arena is just perfect for the action we have in store for you this afternoon for the championship round finals of the Greater Detroit Open. So now, let's meet our 5 finalists. The 5th seed is a former ABC Masters champion looking for his first PBA title. He is from Canandaigua, New York, Doug Kent. Facing him in the opening match is an 11-time champion, making a PBA record 7th arena appearance from New Jersey, Parker Boone III. Our 3rd seed owns 3 titles and is after his first win in more than a year from Tucson, Eric Forkel. The semifinal match features a 2-time champion looking for his 2nd win of the year from Gilbert, Arizona, Dave Arnold. And our tournament leader is bowling in just his 8th PBA event, making his first TV appearance from Warren, Pennsylvania, Jeff Safino. There they are, and Bo, the money at stake, not bad.
Not bad, Chris, and this is the best crowd we've had all year. I think the most knowledgeable. We're in the bowling capital of the United States, Detroit, and the #2 player in the world, Parker Boone III, going against number 27, Doug Kent. We're ready.
For Parker Boone III, it's his 44th TV appearance and his 6th of 1996. He has yet to win this year, but he has 2/5 and he has 3/3. He's just been denied. Had some tough breaks, bowled against some hot bowlers. Listen to this crowd. They're alive, Nelson.
You're right, Chris, and they've been here early. We got here at 11:30 this morning Eastern time, and there was a standing room crowd only already around. So Doug Kent is kind of an unknown quantity out here among the fans, but he has been a real good player for a number of years, and he's just getting sharper all the time. Only 29 years old.
6'2", 185. And the 1991 Masters champion got a big break.
He gets a good break on this, Chris, but also he has a real nice style. You want to see Doug Kent. He has made himself a real good bowler. As you see him take really a 6-step delivery. He's very deliberate, very strong upper body, everything in perfect position. And watch this nice pendulum arm swing as he comes right through. Gets a break on that shot as the head pin tripped out the 2. Let's see if he can take advantage.
9th television appearance. So with that double, the man who was 3rd at Peoria this year looks confident. Parker Boone now up shooting on the right lane, though he has a strike working as well.
Well, Parker just bowled so super last night. He finished with 266, 289 in his last 2 games to make it to the top 5, and that's the most confidence I've seen him exude all year long.
So we're all even. After 2 frames, Parker 0-5 on television this year. He's averaged 207. His opponents have averaged 241.
Well, that's somewhat out of respect. You know how tough Parker is. He's won over $1 million out here on the tour and 11 titles. Players have a tendency to toughen up when you know you got an opponent as tough as Parker Bone, as both players have started with strikes.
First game. We've had 5 strikes thus far. Off the chair is Doug Kent, making careful preparations now, and uses all of the approach.
Big, strong guy, solid grip on the ball, extends his index finger, tucks the pinky.
Perfect through 3 frames. These 2 professionals. All even, as you can see.
Doug has never won on the national tour. He's won the ABC, that's the American Bowling Congress Masters Tournament, which is one of the toughest tournaments in all of bowling to win. It's just not part of the regular tour. But anybody who wins that tournament definitely gets respect out here on the tour. Some of the greats like Carter, Anthony have been very dominant in that particular tournament.
In a row for a young professional that had a 14-10 match play record. We're in Allen Park. And it's a gorgeous day here. In fact, you know, I wouldn't mind doing a little frolicking in the pool myself on a day like this. Yes, we're back again at Allen Park Civic Arena. Basically a hockey arena. A lot of young players are developed here. But more just the fun of participating in a highly competitive sport. They come from tykes to grown-ups. Parker leaving a 7-pin in the 4th frame after 3 in a row. Throwback to the great suburbs that we've known so many of in the past. Of course, there are quite a few still remaining, naturally, but this is one of the pretty places.
Watch Parker's wrist action. The thing that's made him so good in the past 4 or 5 years is his improvement with his wrist at the point of release. He's up to about 14 revs. That's enough to control all the pins.
And back-to-back 7s.
Solid 7s. Really, really good shots here. As you see Parker just walking through this area, he'll slide here. Here's his target area. And watch this wrist action. 9 times out of 10, he'll strike on that particular ball. He likes it. The pins don't respond.
Temporary lanes built into the Allen Park Civic Arena.
Doug Kent joined the PBA in 1988, and he actually won his first tournament, a regional tournament, as an amateur. As you look at his grip, real tight grip, spreads that index finger. It's very hot in here, and it's important to get a good grip on the ball. That's one of the really tough things when the summer comes, especially with arena bowling.
All right. That is 5 in a row. Next Saturday at 3 Eastern and Pacific, 2 Central, it's our season finale from Wichita, Kansas, as ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour celebrates the upcoming premiere of a new bowling feature film. It's the Kingpin Classic. That's next Saturday here on ABC Sports.
Featuring a cameo part by my partner, Chris Schenkel.
It was so difficult playing myself. But it's Woody Harrelson, Bill Murray, and Randy Quaid.
Can't wait to see it. Now a man perfect through 5. First game.
All right, halfway. Taylor Lanes, if he can do 6 more, we'll be happy to present him with a check for $100,000. It's a tournament look of Parker Bone III, trailing by 32. Opened with 3 in a row, then a pair of spares. It isn't a 7, it's a 6. 6 on the right-hand lane for Parker. Parker's last win was in Austin of 1995.
Here's the key. The ball goes through here, and actually this 3-pin flips right around the 6. You see it there? If the ball had been a little bit lighter, he'd have driven the 3 back into the 6-pin. Good shot.
Last year, Parker was in 7 telecasts, and he earned $114,357. And an interesting fact is that that 8 of his 9 singles titles, he gained from the top seed, or the spot that Jeff Zaffino is in today.
Interesting man on top, too, that Jeff Zaffino. Watched him all day yesterday, Chris. As you see Parker Bone leading the arena final appearances.
Playing to the crowd. They love him. Watch this reaction. Okay. Now Doug Kent, who was 14-10 in match play, 24-game match play competition, had to average 227 to make it this week at Taylor Lanes.
Oh my, Chris.
My.
He was walking over to the left-hand lane. He knew that was so perfect nothing could stand. His most confident and probably best shot of the day, and he just gets ripped. A solid 8. Easy spare, but that keeps Parker right in the match. Parker Bone has hit the pocket all 7 times, but he only has 4 strikes to show for it. He'll be trailing by 32, but that's not much.
Incidentally, our statistician is back with us today after becoming the PBA national champion last week in Toledo. Butch Soper. Again, congratulations, Butch.
Butch, 27th this week. Narrowly missed the top 24 again. Another solid check. Understand his wife's over in Windsor, Canada, spending a good portion of that right now.
I hope so. Don, go for it.
Eighth frame, the big guy has 6 strikes, 1 spare.
Winner of this match will meet Eric Forkel, then Dave Arnold, and then, of course, Jeff Zaffino. We're in our first game during the final stages of it as our Taylor Kennedy High School cheerleaders, directed by Sandy Vlasic, performing here with the Eagle mascot. Yes, you're looking at the 4 temporary lanes. Of course, the championship pair are the right 2. And this is our first match with Parker Bone. He is trailing by 32, can cut it to 22 with a strike here in the 8th frame. And he does it. Nelson Burton Jr. mentioned the lights were bright. Here's Bo.
Hey, thank you, Chris. And the scores are hot in here, too. Eric, you know, does it surprise you that they're scoring so well? I didn't see anybody striking that much in practice.
Well, Bo, as you know, in the arena shows, they always score quite high. So I kind of expected high scores. And, you know, these guys are the best in the world. When the lanes are like this, they can throw a lot of strikes.
How about the change? You bowled on wood lane to Taylor lanes, and now we're over to synthetics.
Well, obviously, when you go to synthetics, the approaches are a little slipperier, and you have to kind of adjust your shoe a little bit. And I've got on some good shoes this week. I'll be in good shape.
All right, this is a national champion. He's up in the next match, Chris. Back to you.
All right. also. Okay. This is something for all of you tonight. Find out what Second Noah is all about at 8, 7 Central Time on ABC. Then a special Father's Day treat when Bob Saget takes to the great outdoors for a father and son camping trip. It's Father and Scout on Saturday night at the movies, ABC, tonight. All right, that double still gives Doug Kent a 22-pin lead. That last strike coming in the 9th foundation frame.
He's putting himself in a position where he can shut out Parker Bone no matter what Parker does. Parker's bowled an excellent game, but the best he can shoot is 257. Right now, Doug Kent needs 9 spare strike, which would give him 258. Obviously, a strike on the first ball would be lockjaws, and he'd go against Eric Forkel. High scores. The match is not over yet.
And gets it.
That's Chris Schenkel's favorite shot. It just became Doug Kent's favorite as the head pin Scout comes over, wipes out the 10. Watch this reaction. Loses the ball a little at the bottom of the swing, but this is for all the wheat. Let's talk about it. Needs 5 pins to shut out. Parker, that's why you won a nice guy award. Guy's shooting 270 against you and you're smiling.
Doug Kent has won the first game here in the Greater Detroit Open.
Other than great bowling, you can't say much more about that match other than Parker bowled very well. Doug Kent bowled just super solid 8, preventing him from having 11 in a row at this point, and exciting action. And of course, the trials and tribulation of Parker Bone continue in arena finals with 7 straight losses.
278. Whopping score. His highest during the week was 267. Now at 278.
You know, Chris, and that 267 was his last game last night, so he's hot.
Parker Bone, what a great guy. Truly does.
Well, I said it before, and there's a lot of great players out here. You have the Vosses, the Williams, and everything, but they're going to play heck as keeping this guy from being one of the all-time leading money winners, if not #1 in a few years.
Because he is 32, and as we indicated, this is his 6th television appearance this year, 7 last year.
He's got all the shots, Chris. You know, we've seen him mature, stronger ball, confident, great arm swing. Can't deny his classic style, aggressive style. You never see him cut one short.
So there he goes again. He shoots a 257 and is defeated by Doug Kent, who had a 278. Kent and Forkel next as this ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC.
The Professional Bowlers Tour on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Pringles. So fresh, once you pop, you can't stop. Quaker Stay, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. And Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Allen Park in suburbia, Detroit. And there you see Parker Bone shot at 257, yet was eliminated by Doug Kent, who shot at 278. Parker Bone, these arena finals, wow.
I'll tell you, it just seems like no matter how many strikes I throw, I'm 1 short at the end of the game. So I'll have to put them all together someday, and who knows, maybe we'll get 11 or 12 one game.
We'll bet you will.
I'll probably tie at that point.
Well, Parker goes in streaks, and I know your sons at home are glad to have you home for Father's Day tomorrow, so maybe it's a good point.
Yeah, it is. Parker and Evan, I'll see you, if not tomorrow, by definitely the end of next week, I'll be there. So send my love. See you then.
All right, great champion, and we have two great champions going to the next match. Chris Schenkel, the former national champion, against the former Masters champion, a red-hot Doug Kent.
Okay. Big, tall Doug. 6'2", 185. Eric Forkel, 5'11", 180. 35 years old, and it's Eric, the left-hander, who shoots first. Gets them all. He's got a smooth style, Parker, hasn't he?
Advantage Doug Kent. He's loose. He's got the pair figured out, and he's acclimated to the heat. You know, it seems, Chris, that the player who wins the first match, Parker knows, I know, and other players who've been out there have an advantage. You actually know the pair. But one thing I've noticed in the championship round in the synthetic lanes is the player that gets the ball out over the foul line has a better carry percentage. Now watch how Kent, he's going to be in this area. He's going to take 6 short, quick steps in here. And what's going to happen is he's aiming at a target right in this area. And what he's going to do is loft the ball out over the foul line right about here. So the ball will be right in there. That's the key, the good solid loft.
And he started out with a double one more time. Doug Kent, Canandaigua, New York, where he and his wife, Tracy, are building a new home. Canandaigua, great resort area. It's beautiful, beautiful area. Eric, originally from California, now bowling out of Tucson. All even after 2.
Sweetheart shot by Eric Forkel right there, and he did exactly what he wanted to do. He told me before we went in on the air, he says, I want to get the ball and hit it on the upswing. And that's basically what Doug Kent is doing. Let that slide foot come in underneath you, catch the ball, and roll the wrist underneath the ball. Trying to keep that thumb cool. Temperature in here close to 100 out there under the lights.
Ten-pin for Eric. If you just joined us, our first match was won by Doug Kent over Parker Bone III, 278 to 257.
Watch the action right here as all the pins go over, but the 10-pin doesn't get the action. See the head pin go to the sideboard, snap out the 6. Now if it kicks it back in there, the 10-pin will go out, you get the old wall shot.
Nice job, Eric, marking. We're in our second game.
It's Doug's wife and son looking on. Jacob rooting for his dad.
4 years old. Handsome young fellow, isn't he?
Jacob doesn't like that. The ringing 10 for his dad. This is similar to the solid 8 shot he had on this lane, which ended his string in the first game. You see that 6-pin wrapping around the lower part of the belly of the 10. Real good shot, just a bad break. You see 6 rounds, that's 42 games. 18 finals, or qualifying, 24 finals.
Dave Arnold next, and then a name you're not familiar with, Jeff Zaffino. He was in his first TV appearance, only his 8th tournament. He is the tournament leader. So we're all even in our second game. And for those that couldn't make it to the arena, there are plenty of other options on this beautiful day. Esports. Allen Park Civic Arena, where Wayne Knox is the Director of Parks and Recreations in this lovely suburbia area. From the West Coast, Eric Forkel. Fourth frame. He has a spare working. And topple they did. Okay, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. The man is up in the semifinal match here. Dave Arnold. Dave, you were voted the most underrated player on the PBA Tour. Is that good or is that bad?
That's a good question. No, I just take it for what it is and respect the fact that the players acknowledge my talent out here and appreciate that.
Well, he's one of the best players, Chris. He'll be in the semifinal match, and watch him. He's due to win. He's up next. Back to you.
Eric Forkel now. 11-time champion, Parker Bone the third here. Your fellow left-hander, he looks zeroed in a little more, doesn't he, on the left lane?
I'll tell you, if the key for him is, I believe, to hit that left lane. If he can figure out that left lane, it looks like he did there and got it high flush. I think that he'll be on his way.
Excellent bowler.
Oh, very good. He's worked just as hard at his game as David Ozio has. The two of them together can practice forever.
Well, that's the first four of the afternoon.
Interesting, we got a little high hit here. The 4-pin is, I spoke with Dave Arnold. He says the championship here, that's 3 and 4 of these portable lanes, is breaking down a little bit. The heat's having an effect on the oil or conditioner on the lane surface. Players have to be aware of it. Doug Kent obviously got a good read out of that. He'll make an adjustment on this lane when he comes up in the 7th, and that's really the key. Don't you feel, Parker, to being successful through 4 games in a championship round?
Yeah, it really is. You need to be on top of those moves at all times. I think that ring in 10, he probably moved just a little bit and tried to take advantage of it and moved back, and the lane was hooking a little more.
What do you do now, Parker? You pack up and head out to Wichita?
Yeah, well, I'll be leaving for Wichita sometime later this afternoon.
Yes.
We'll first go out and have a nice relaxing dinner here. We've got Josh and Bambi Hyde are here. So, and Roger, I believe he's down here too. So we're going to go out and enjoy ourselves.
That's good. You have to forget what happened here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Doug Kent's asked for a re-rack, excuse me, and it was not granted, or now it has been. I guess the PBA officials on the side did not hear his request. Each player is granted 2 re-racks during a particular game. Didn't like what he saw back there. Has something he likes to look at right now. He trails by 10 pins, 6 frame, second match. Tough player right here.
Powerful. Coming in the 6th frame. Very close match.
He definitely took advantage of that re-rack. He really needed to at that point. He's got to put some pressure back on Eric somehow.
It's 3 in a row for Eric Forkel now. 20-pin lead.
Strongest part of Eric Forkel's game is his concentration. He likes to get in that little cocoon, block everything out, has a golden arm swing, but when he's mentally right and he thinks he's going to hit him, he stays right there. This is a key shot. He could take a big lead, 30 pins.
And the PBA national champion.
Right here you can see where Eric Forkel ends up. He's around the 2nd arrow, and he doesn't quite get all the lift necessary to get the 7-pin out.
Savannah and Becky.
You know, we've been thinking about a career for Savannah, and she's really taken a liking to action flicks, and in particular, baby kung fu theater, and I would like to give you a little piece of that right now. Whoa, you a tough guy, huh? Well, take this. Wow. What do you think?
Well, what a natural.
There you see the crowd, enthusiastic. I'd say 90% are bowlers, league bowlers. Of course, there's some professionals in the crowd that have stayed over from the tournament this week, the Greater Detroit Open. And now they're watching the finals along with you. We're in our second match. Doug Kent winning the first over Parker Bone, 278 to 257. What a match. Now he's in against Eric Forkel and trailing by 19.
Well, we talked about the strongest part of Eric Forkel's game. You saw the strongest part of Doug Kent. It's 6 feet 2 inches tall, 185 pounds. He's a powerful guy, has all the shots. He originally was what we call a straight shooter out here in the tour. He had that down and in shot he's playing now. Stayed alive out here, made some money in the past 3 or 4 years when it was so fashionable to throw the big hook ball. Now he's back to a straighter shot, his more natural game, and has thrown every ball in the pocket so far today, and he can retake the lead here in the 8th with one additional strike. Close match.
I think he's back on it. Definitely got them both figured out again. Big key there was lane 4, and obviously he mastered it.
Well, Parker, do you think that the left-handers actually have a slight advantage on lane 4 in arena settings with the crowd actually in the right eye of a right-hander? I mean, I had a few right-handers say that, hey, I see the crowd.
It really can affect the right-handers, especially if they open up the lane. I don't feel it's affecting Doug Kent today because he's going more down and in.
I'll take it, he says.
Watch the action of the head pin coming all the way back and scouting out the 7 pin. The ball enters the 1-2 pocket, a little bit of deflection. The head pin will go to the sideboard. A key shot in today's professional bowling. That's why you have speed and revolutions on the ball to activate those pins.
It's a big shot right here. Eric really needs to clean this one good. If he can clear it and get it out on a lane, he'll get it back, it'll strike. Looked pretty impressive there.
Yeah, he was. And Parker, you picked up a good point as I talked to Eric before the game, and you know so well, is that he has to keep that good knee bend so he keeps his hand underneath the ball to get the lift and loft. Then you can activate those pins.
Yeah, you really can. He moved him around there. He had him talking. Have to see what Doug Kent does here in the final 2 frames.
Anybody's match.
Doug Kent from upstate New York. Still looking for his first PBA title.
Great shot there in the 9th frame, what we call on the tour an unassisted strike. He didn't use any sideboard. That ball was just perfect. Every pin did its job. And he's in a position where he can actually shut out Eric Forkel with 3 consecutive strikes. Kent would finish 259. The best Forkel can do is 258. Terrific scoring.
Looks like 1. You better get the next 2 because I'll tell you what, Eric's a pretty good clutch player. I've seen him in the past, so you don't count him out. If he's got a window, he's going to be there.
Good point.
You left-handers stick together.
Yeah, actually, Eric, he was supposed to meet me for breakfast this morning. He was out working on his equipment last night and made me go by myself. So
Oh, that's
I'll make sure he buys tomorrow.
unfriendly, isn't it? Usually calm, placid. Doug Kent is all over the place now, isn't he?
He's running him out.
Parker, although you've been victimized by these arena finals, they sure bring out the best in the pros, don't you feel?
They really do. I'll tell you what, this atmosphere that we can bowl under with a couple of thousand people watching us really brings our true sport to its its biggest adversary.
And right now the graphic tells the story. Strikes a win, 9 guarantees him at least a tie. If he gets 8, he could lose the match.
Oh, that's the second one we've seen today.
You know what, Chris? And it's on 2 of his better shots of the whole day. Oh. Now the ball only hits 4 pins. It hits the 1, 3, 5, and 9. And the 5-pin just gets stripped right back off the 8-pin. And what this is set up is a potential for a tie match. We haven't had one all year. This is our 13th ABC telecast as Doug Kent contemplates something he cannot change. 3 strikes by Eric Forkel. We'd have a 258. Here's Forkel's reaction to the solid 8.
I think you're going to see a couple of terrific shots here if Eric hits 2 in a row, but he's definitely going to hit the pocket.
Parker, you being a left-hander have a little looser interpretation of the pocket than right-handers do.
I'll tell you what, surprised me. That lane hooks a little bit more. I'm figuring him to get high flush there, and that's 2 or 3 times he's gone light in this match. So,
well, the heat's a factor. He could lose it off his hand. The scoreboard tells the story. 2 more strikes, we'd have our first tie match of the 1996 season and would precipitate a 2-frame roll-off. What happened there, Parker?
I think he got it a little bit inside and it jumped on him. That shot a little bit right at target. Comes in a little bit high there, trips out to 6 and leaves the 4.
And it cost him the match as he'll finish with 247. The winner is Doug Kent. He'll be going against Dave Arnold, 2 tough players in the semifinal, Chris.
Doug really didn't see much of that last action in a couple of frames. He had his eyes covered with his towel. He didn't want to face reality, did he? But it worked out for him and not so good for Eric. 258, 247. This week's Winning Never Gets Old tip of the week features John Hendegaard.
And now ABC Sports Professional Bowlers Tour presents another Winning Never Gets Old bowling tip. Brought to you by Comfort Inns and Suites.
John Hendegaard, the most prolific player on the PBA Senior Tour and the oldest man to win a PBA National Championship at the age of 57. John, you just get better and better with age. I'm sure you have a tip that'll help us all.
Yes, that's true. As we get older, we sometimes think we need both hands to carry that ball into the backswing. What happens when you do that, the shoulders get way out of whack. The left shoulder gets too far in front. The swing goes out of line and you're off balance. It's a bad thing to do. When in a good shot, if you notice the left arm just comes back, nice and loose, right arm stays loose, balanced, shot is on line.
Great tip from John Hendegaard. Let the left arm and right arm work together in the approach. And remember, winning never gets old.
This ABC Professional Bowlers Tour Winning Never Gets Old bowling tip has been brought to you by Comfort Inns and Suites.
Big scores, as you see. Doug Kent winning the first 278 to 257. And then Doug coming right back, 258 to Eric Forkel's 247. Commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Mark Gerbrick, here today. Happy to have him.
Yeah, Chris, take a look at some of the players that finished in the top 24. Size of the field 155. Big scores 227 to make the top 24. Ernie Schlegel, how about that guy? Some of the other players who did well this week: George Brannon III at 52nd, Marshall Holman 41st, the Golden Boy Bob Learn Jr. 33rd. As you see some of the other top 24. On the PBA Tour, we bowl 18 games of qualifying. They cut to the top 24 players. They bowl 24 games of match play. And that's how we get to our top 5 for our championship round on ABC. Deadeye having a great year. Big Bob Spalding, Quaker State champion. Gene Stuss, one of the great senior players on the tour. You notice this week 25 players in the top 24. A silly statement, but Ron Palumbi had to drop out, and his place was taken by Anthony Lombardo. Chris, and we have 1 tournament left for you, Kingpin.
Yes, we do, and that is the Kingpin Classic, named for the motion picture that will be out in July. So now, big, tall, lanky Dave Arnold going against Doug Kent. Doug has won 2 matches with big scores, 9 strikes in each victory.
And his opponents haven't backed off much, partner. 260 average for all 4 games so far, and I don't see it slowing down here. Kent, semifinal match, has never won on the PBA Tour. Boy, is that sweet. Just a blueprint strike, and he was so positive.
Now, Dave Arnold. He has 2 titles in his 11 years as a PBA member. His 3rd telecast of 1996. Lofting it out. There, he won the Reno Open this year, 2nd at the Tournament of Champions.
Chris, this is a guy that has so much promise on the tour to be a superstar for a lot of years to come. He has real good personal habits, trains well, brilliant guy, and just a classic game. He has to just let that inner self come out here, be a little more aggressive, and get a little more confidence, and you'll see a lot more than just 2 titles next to his name.
Mm-hmm. Pin.
Talked about the loft over the foul line. Even Parker had it to say while I was in the announce booth as being the key to having the ball set up in the pocket here. We noticed the big loft from Arnold in the first frame. He just kind of laid it short or stroked it on the left-hand lane. It drifted high. Result, 4-pin.
So Dave Arnold has a strike and a spare. This is our semifinal match. Doug Kent opened with a strike, now shooting in the 2nd frame. Very careful preparation.
Well, Chris, there is a little reciprocity in all sports. He left a couple of solid 8s, although they almost cost him his first 2 matches. Right here, he gets his first really errant shot of the day, crosses over and just gets what we used to call the Jersey squasher. He just mushroomed him down. Frank Esposito used to love to hear that shot if he's listening down in Florida. And so that keeps Kent perfect through 2 in a 10-pin lead.
Doug now has 3 strikes in a row. Remember, in the first game, he opened with 6 in a row. Though mentioning Frank Esposito, he was the TV PBA coordinator with us for 32 years, I believe.
One of the pioneers in sports, pro bowling television. As you'll see, this man with just a standard style. You look for a shot right between the 2nd, 3rd arrows. Good arm swing.
High hit, nearly crossing over, and he's left a 3-pin. 4-pin on the previous frame, and now a 3.
2 types of games that work well on the PBA Tour: the stroking type game of Dave Arnold and the muscle type game of Doug Kent. And really, when things get tough, it's warm out there, it's trouble holding on the ball, lanes are breaking down quickly, it favors the muscle player because he keeps it in play. The stroker like Arnold has to be always wary of the ball drifting in the drier part of the lane.
Oh, speaking of warm, what's the warmest you've ever been bowling competitively?
Well, Chris, the warmest I can ever recall was with your friend Freddie Wolf, as we used to do a show called Championship Bowling, and we had no air conditioning, recorded about this time of year in Akron, Ohio. 106 degrees. They had a thermometer below the seats, and brother, you just couldn't hold on the bowling ball. Made for poor scoring. Now, it's not quite that hot in here, but these fellas will have a problem holding on to the ball, and that's the key.
would have called that a light hit.
And he would be absolutely correct. And it was a little wild, too. Dave having trouble holding on the ball. You know, he needs just to get that ball right in the zone and avoid chopping the 2-4 off the 5. Right now, a struggling Dave Arnold needs to make this spare, just kind of gather himself here a little bit and hope that Doug Kent can just slow down.
All right, we're in our semifinal match nearing the halfway point, and we'll return with more action as our Kennedy High School cheerleaders go to work. Here in Michigan at Allen Park, in the 4th frame, Doug Kent left 1-2, covered it to mark for the spare in the 4th. Now he's shooting in the 5th frame. Gets them all. Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Doug Kent looks like he's getting a little shaky, and our tournament leader, Jeff Safino. Jeff, you
just kind of ran away from this field, and you never had any experience in a championship route, and even TV. So what are your feelings or thoughts at this point?
Stay focused, shoot my game, try to stay out of trouble, pick up spares, and hopefully they can make mistakes and I can capitalize on them.
Are you kind of happy to see the lanes toughening up a little bit here as the heat is a factor?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to make a change on what I was doing in practice, but I threw a couple shots, and I think I can find it within 6 shots, so I think I'll be all right.
He's the new sheriff in town, Chris. He'll be up in the next game. We'll watch for him. Back to you.
That's right. He looks ready. Right now, Doug Kent has a 23-pin lead over Dave Arnold. Dave leaving the 4-pin on the right lane. Okay, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Eric Forkel, just a super performance by you. You have to be happy with what happened as far as the score goes. However, the result was still a little bit of a loss.
Yes, I'm really pleased. That's about the best I bowled on TV in quite a long time, and it definitely shows me I'm right back on track again, and I think my new mental ideas are really working well.
How about this last game and a half out there? The lanes are changing pretty quickly. Who's it favor, the stroker or the power player?
Well, both these guys seem to be having a little trouble now holding that line. It might favor Zafina with all the ball speed, but we'll have to see.
All right, good point. He picks the rookie. Chris, back to you.
Okay. And Dave Arnold has come back in the 6th frame with only his 2nd strike of the match. Doug Kent, again, making sure that his right bowling hand is dry. Yeah, he has a strike up, leading by 23. Leads by 33. Coming up on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Europe's top gymnasts gather in England for the European Women's Gymnastics Championships presented by State Farm. Plus, the finest female runners compete in New York City in the Advil Mini Marathon. That's next on Wide World.
This a rout if he strikes here in the 7th. Arnold has struggled somewhat through 6 frames. Kent seems re-zeroed. This is the semifinal game.
All but the 7. Bo, a frame or so. I'll get to it later.
All right, Chris, as you see here, the 5-pin in it, kind of a weird way, goes right behind the 7. It's unusual. You see the ball hit the 1-3, and the 5 just shot right out behind the 7. And Chris, you had a point to make there, partner?
Dave Arnold was assessed a $100 fine. The shot clock.
Slow bowling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he does it one more time, it's 1,000. But he's an expensive category right now because he's losing his game. That cost him more than that.
That's right. All right. We'll be back with more of the semifinal following this. You're looking at the back of Dave Arnold of Gilbert, Arizona. bowling in the semifinal against Doug Kent, number 5 seed, Dave being the number 2 seed. And he has left a 3-pin in the 7th frame, left a 10-pin marked with a spare.
Just can't seem to get on track, right, Chris?
Right.
You know, Chris, over the years, you've seen obviously a lot more of these than I have, and it seems like the players who are really aggressive, Dick Weber, remember how he used to just come out charging? Billy Golembuski, a name from the past from this area, Bob Strampy. They were all so tough, and they came out like Doug Kent charging. I think that's the real secret to continued success over a long period in the championship round. Right now, Doug Kent off with a 33-pin lead.
Aggressiveness sends a message to yourself and to the opponent. Okay, tomorrow ABC Sports shifts into high gear for some fast-paced action. First at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central Pacific. Speed is the key at the NHRA Pontiac Nationals. Then you'll see the final match of U.S. Cup 96 as Mexico is looking to avenge last year's 4-0 loss to the United States. They'll meet tomorrow right here on ABC Sports.
Doug Kent can put this out of the reach of Dave Arnold with a strike here. Well, a couple of good breaks by Kent here as he, in the 4th frame, he let the ball slide by the head pin, had the 1-2-10 washout standing, gets a break as the 10-pin slides out. Here he has the bucket standing, and the 4-pin kicks out. Really doesn't help him that much. The key on this is good technique, let that ball slide back into the 2-5 zone. If he'd happened to miss this, Dave Arnold would be right back in the match.
Made sure, covering both pins, flush.
The only chance for Dave Arnold to bail out this match is to finish with 4 consecutive strikes. The 9th frame coming up. He's floundered somewhat. He has 194 pace going, has a potential 214. That would force Doug Kent to at least throw 1 good ball in the 10th. Attaboy, Dave.
Yeah. He has a nonchalance, a slow, does everything slow.
It's that reticent manner, Chris. He carries it throughout the tournament, 42 games, and it's great in that long 45, 6, 7 days we bowl on the tour. It's great. But you have to be a sprinter on Saturday. You can be a marathon runner for 7 days, but you got to sprint here on Saturday, and he's got to get it in high gear. Well, that assures a victory of Doug, his 3rd straight victory for Doug Kent. It's going to be Kent against the unknown Semifinal on top. That's going to be interesting. I haven't seen a guy, Chris, who's making his first appearance as tournament leader in many years.
All right, so it's Doug Kent winning his 3rd match. As this ABC Sports presentation, the Professional Bowlers Show, will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
I'm Robin Roberts reporting from Chicago. Coming up after bowling, it's ABC's Wide World of Sports. Today, Europe's finest gymnasts, including the reigning world champion Lilia Polkapaeva and a former world champion Svetlana Boginskaya, headline the European Women's Gymnastics Championships presented by State Farm. And we'll feature 2-time New York City Marathon winner Tekla LaRupe in the Advil Mini Marathon from New York City in one of the most dramatic and unusual finishes. Wide World is next at 4:30 Eastern and Pacific. Now back to bowling.
And there you see the Doug Kent from the very beginning, seated 5th, has won 3 matches now. He has a total of 25 strikes in those 3 victories, and perhaps he'll need that and more against this non-PBA champion.
Well, I agree, Chris, but, you know, Doug Kent's got the experience. He's bowl free, but Sefino has never backed out all week long. I tell you, he's kind of untested out there, but he's going to give Doug Kent all he can handle. Either one of these players have tasted victory on the Pro Tour, so Kent is kind of in uncharted territory also. I look for a real exciting match. Here we go. Kent will start off. I think his wife or one of or his son says something of certain levity that only he knows at this point.
Jacob.
There he is.
There's Jacob and his mom, Tracy.
Jacob probably says, Dad, you're working on the green side right now. Well, there's Jacob, happy with his dad's
okay, now
result.
he's applauding.
While we have little boys on mine, I'd like to wish my littlest boy, Brett Burton, a happy 11th birthday today.
11, can you imagine?
So quickly.
Brett, have many, many more.
The
happy
Axeman,
ones.
the Axeman. Now here's Bruno, better with his nickname.
Go Scout.
Well, that was a real good shot, Chris. I'll tell you, that's the kind of shots he just kept in play all week long. I observed him all day on Friday. Everybody, a lot of pros were standing around. Mark Williams, Wayne Webb. They're saying this guy will fold, this guy will fold. And just about the time you thought he would, he just came on even stronger. But this is Saturday.
Yes. Seemed a little unsteady going to the line. He was, I don't know.
Tentative, and missing the 10-pin will truly unnerve anyone, much less a person making his first championship round appearance. A narrow miss, but it might as well have been a mile. Let's see if he can recover.
Then he comes up high, and he leaves a single 3-pin on the left lane. He's 36 years old. His best finish was 27th.
Well, Chris, he's got to survive, as you see in the Flagship Open there. He's got to survive these first 4 frames. We've seen this before. A new guy come on nervous, and if he gets killed in the first 4 frames, it's all over.
There's some satisfaction. The gentleman in that white shirt, looking like a Detroit Lion football player, is Matt Fiorito, who this week did such great press coverage for the Greater Detroit Open. Matt Fiorito.
Very knowledgeable.
One of the best.
Kent's been off to a quick start. All 3 games. Can he continue that pace?
Well, he sure is. 9 strikes in the first 2 games. He had 7 in his life. There's Matt. I'll tell you, he's a doer. Does pretty good at that table, doesn't he?
He hasn't missed a whole lot of meals. What a great writer.
No, just.
We're in bowling's #1 town, Detroit, Michigan, where more registered league bowlers participate than any other city in the world.
So I'd like to praise the Detroit Free Press for doing a whole section on bowling. They know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Mike Barr of WJR, great station here in Detroit, is out here. He's carries a 200 average. Great guy on the air.
Chris, you've done a lot of boxing matches, and a player comes out with an ideal style like this young man. He takes a little back step here, a 4-step delivery. Kind of reminds me of Bobby Meadows, a great PBA player. Has that little figure 8, a good solid arm swing. But he's a little tentative. He didn't see him kind of jam his foot in the ground, kind of hold his follow through. And backing up, Chris, when a fighter comes out, and maybe he's even undefeated, but meets a great player, he doesn't know what happened. As you see the family of Sefino looking on and knowing Daddy is in trouble.
Aren't they attractive? Diane and Kyle is 10 and Ashley is 7.
There's a man qualified 7th. Those are the first 3 rounds. Then the last 24 games was never really headed. Forkel gave him a little run last night. Savino was up to the challenge, but he's in trouble now.
That ought to be a turn on. That should help Jeff a great deal here in the championship match. We'll be back.
The Professional Bowlers Tour on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Bud Light, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. Make it a Bud Light. Kellogg's, with good taste, nutrition, and value. The best you each morning from Kellogg's. And McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Even the mascot eagle is hot, right? He's here with the Taylor Kennedy High School cheerleaders. And Walt Lippick's Dixieland Trios entertain the crowd here. Let's see. In the 4th frame, Doug Kent strike. In the 5th frame, left to 10. Marked with a spare. Looking for the double that he really needed at this point because he's trailing by 41 pins because Kent opened with a 4-bagger. So now he'll carefully, hopefully, cross lane to the 10-pin. Gets it. Okay, Bo.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Dave Arnold finished 3rd, but you kind of look like a sailboat on a windless day out there, Dave. Just couldn't get anything going, no momentum.
No, I realized from the practice that the shot was really not suited to my game. I'm a little bit softer than what needs to be done out there. Doug Kent has more of the game for that type of shot. He's hard and straight and lofts the ball about 10, 12 feet out on the lane. When I do that, I tend to spray the ball a little bit. So.
All right, he'll be back, Chris. We'll back to the championship game. 5 frames left.
Honesty is a terrific virtue. And Dave has it. All right, now Doug Kent, who just joined us. He started in game 1 with a 278-257 victory. Came back, shot a 258 against Eric Forkel and won. Then shot a 227 to Dave Arnold's 194 for his 3rd victory. Now trying for his 4th, and if he can do that, he will win the championship. Spare up, shooting in the 6th frame. He thought it was going to be worse. Left to 610 on the right lane.
Good point, Chris. He kind of pulls this ball inside his target. We said he's a muscle player, but muscle players do well when things go bad. But he got a good break. I mean, let's face it. When you're playing the right shot, things go your way. This is the first time he's had a real difficult spare all day long, something he could chop. He had the 2-5 earlier in the previous match. Made a good shot. Let's see about the 610. Okay.
Another spare for Doug Kent. Next Saturday at 3 Eastern and Pacific, 2 Central, it's our season finale from Wichita as ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour celebrates the upcoming premiere of a new, exciting, and funny bowling feature film called The Kingpin, thus The Kingpin Classic. And talking to the 2 directors, brothers Peter and Bob Farrelly, Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray and Randy Quaid are off on other movies, so they asked me it was okay. Good strike by Doug Kent if they sent the female star of the movie. I'll keep it a surprise, and I said, oh, what a blessing. So let's hope that the female star of Kingpin will be in Wichita next week.
Well, Chris, do we draw straws for interviews? Is that the way how we do it, or
No,
is it my week next week?
It's your week. It's your week. You're so good at doing it. That,
oh,
all right.
It would be my pleasure next week. Now Safino needs this strike. Get back in the match. Come on. Showing lack of experience, Chris. He reacted by moving left on the lane after a previous high hit. In the 3rd frame, he moved left on the lane, and here he comes in light, breaks down the 2-5. He has a simple spare.
Had to be sheer torture between finishing as a tournament leader high which he did last night. And then all that time coming into this championship match, one game.
There you see the 42 games. Rick Steelsmith, who had back-to-back 300 games this week. Jack Jurek, watch him. He's really becoming a player. Then Safino took over in the finals. And you're right, Chris. He had 4 days of staying right on top. Now his back is to the wall.
Little break there. Jeff Safino, a right-hander from Warren, Pennsylvania. Doug Kent from Canandaigua, New York.
This is the one that Kent wants. He has never tasted victory on the Pro Tour. He has paid his dues. The players know he's tough. They know he can win. He locks, he loads. He's got 3 frames left, 39-pin lead. Chris, you're a farm boy. What's it when the horse sees the barn? They lose their gait a little bit, don't they?
That's very good. I hadn't heard that for a long time. Okay.
Well, I think that Doug Kent, as you see the pin action from the rear, the lane being actually 62 feet long from the foul line to the fall-off spot, and then another 29 inches to our camera.
Now remember, Doug Kent from Canandaigua won the 1991 Masters, where he won $43,500. He has yet to win a PBA title. He has one PBA regional title. He's 29 years old. He was the 5th seed in this field.
Really doesn't have the luxury of any more bad shots. He has a 227 game going, but if he gets an open, Safino will have a window to slide in and take the title. Gene Stuss, one of the great seniors who lives right around here in the audience, would call that a rocket to the pocket, as you see the DiBiase family.
Oh, aren't they nice people? And, of course, their son is the general manager, Alan DiBiase. That was Adeline and her husband, Bill. Just great people.
What a terrific break, a wry smile from Jeff Safino as he stays in the match. If he had not struck on that ball, it was all over. Now he has an opportunity to throw strikes in the 10th frame, at least 2, and force Doug Kent to mark. And we've seen a lot of opens in the 10th frame so far this year. As you look at Diana, looking at the scoreboard, knowing that Jeff must strike on these 2 balls. Got one.
Diana is Accounts Payable Department of United Refinery in Warren, Pennsylvania. And Jeff at one time worked for Crescent Beer Distributors.
Said they delivered a lot of Bud Light. Makes my people in St. Louis happy. All right, Safino can still win the tournament. Needs to strike on this ball. Would force Doug Kent to mark.
What a finish. And there is Alan DiBiase, the general manager and the son of Bill and Adeline.
Kind of shaking his head, huh, Chris?
Yeah.
He's probably saying the same thing that the Safino family saying, this is only 10 frames in this sport. I wish it was 12 or 13, because Jeff seems to have found the style that got him to the #1 position in the late going here. .217.
.217.
Now what that basically does is force Doug Kent to mark. Any kind of mark, Doug Kent captures his first PBA championship.
Really a close match, like a native of Allen Park, this lovely suburb. A friend of mine, Mike Carrillo of Jack Roush Technologies, would say, this guy is strong and fast.
It's no gimme here. He's been high the last 2 frames on this lane. Well, he took no chances. Used the muscle part of his game. That's the best part of his game. He muscled the ball in there. Didn't allow for any break. All he needed was an easy spare. He needs this spare and 1 pin for the title. Obviously, the 1 pin's a given. If he misses the spare, Safino wins. It's all down to 1 shot.
And look at that, Jeff Safino applauding his opponent. Can't help but like that guy.
You're right.
Oh.
Safino's a nice guy. I mean, he'll be back. He has to make a decision of whether he can. He told me he's take some personal time off from his job with the beer distributor to do a little bit more bowling, and I think he should. He's still young. He's very strong, and obviously has a lot of talent, and he can show it out here.
Well, I have a suggestion. Crescent Distributors and United Refinery get together and sponsor him out on the tour.
That'd work.
And there's Jacob. Jacob has come in to hug his pop. All right. 3-way hug. Doug Kent. What a marvelous day for him to win his very first PBA title. The Greater Detroit Open champion is 29-year-old Doug Kent, holding his 4-year-old son Jacob, while Adeline and Alan DiBiase, mother and son, the handshakes and $19,000 along with the trophy to the first-time PBA titleist Doug Kent from Canandaigua, New York. See you in Wichita, Kingpin Classic next week.